Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the series of Git Crash Course. In today's video, we are going to talk about the key concepts that you need to remember in Git. So let's get started. So first of all, we are going to talk about the repositories. So the repositories in Git contain a collection of files of various different versions of a project. These files are imported from repository into the local server of the user for further updations and modifications in the content of the file. A VCS or the version control system is used to create these versions and store them in a specific place termed as a repository. So these can be divided into two parts. First would be bare repositories. So these repositories are used to share the changes that are done by different developers. A user is not allowed to modify this repository or create a new version for this repository based on the modifications done. The second would be non-bare repositories. So non-bare repositories are user-friendly and hence allow the user to create new modifications of files and also create new versions for the repositories. Cloning process by default creates a non-bare repository if any parameter is not specified during the clone operation. So third would be commit. So commit is anything that is saved into the repository, or you can say save changes to the repository. It's a unique code or an identifier in SHA1 or SHA1. Let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to talk about the branches. So branches can be thought of as a timeline with commits. By default, the master branch is our main, primary or a default branch that we start with our work. In this course, we will be doing mostly all of our work on our main branch, but we will talk about other branches as well. Next is head. So head is a pointer to the last commit on the current branch. Next is remote. Remote is a pointer to a related repository, somewhere that's not local, so possibly within our own network. For example, you have Bitbucket, Azure Repos, AWS Code Commit, GitLab, GitHub, etc. We'll talk about the GitHub in the further course. Let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to talk about the working area. So working area or staging area of a Git repository. So you can say that a working tree in a Git repository is the collection of files which are originated from a certain version of the repository. It helps in tracking the changes done by a specific user on one version of the repository. So whenever an operation is committed by the user, Git will look only for the files which are present in the working area and not at all in the modified files. Only the files which are present in the working area are considered for commit operation. The user of the working tree gets to change the files by modifying existing files and removing or creating files. There are a few stages of a file in the working tree of the repository. Let's take a look at them. First would be untracked. So in this stage, the Git repository is unable to track the file, which means that the file is never staged nor it is committed. The next one will be tracked. When the Git repository tracks a file, which means the file is committed but it is not staged in the working directory. Next is staged. In this stage, the file is ready to be committed and is placed in the staging area waiting for the next commit. Next one would be modified or dirty. When the changes are made to a file, that is, the file is modified but the change is not yet staged. So that's what we call as modified or a dirty one. So after the changes are done in the working area, the user can either update these changes in the Git repository or revert the changes. So I hope you guys have understood it till here. These are one of the key concepts that you need to remember throughout the course. We'll talk more on this when we do the practical part. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free and comment them. We'll try to address all of them. And if you have not subscribed my channel yet, kindly do so. So thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video.